Hey astronauts, this is Brandi and welcome back to Astro-Tarot Research. So if you're new here, welcome. As I said, my name is Brandi and I like to combine tarot and astrology to give you everyday real world predictions. Now I have 15 years of experience with astrology and tarot, and I have a style that is very much research based and based on experience from reading from others, from reading from friends, from reading from family, from reading from myself. And so I like to make predictions based upon that. But before I move forward, I want to add some disclaimers, and that is number one, tarot and astrology are simply just tools that you can use to guide your life. You have free will to do what you please. Nothing is set in stone. Second disclaimer I would like to add is if you are in a sensitive place in your life, or maybe you are looking for a validation or a pick-me-up, I do want to say that that is not particularly my reading style. I like to read what I see. Obviously, I will be as gentle as possible when it comes to delivery. But just know, like I said, you have free will to do with what you please, and tarot and astrology is for entertainment purposes only. Now that that has been said, this week's reading is your first serious relationship. So I wanted to do this reading because a lot of people actually haven't been in relationships at all. I know in our culture, or in lots of different cultures, it's normalized to just assume that by a certain age you have been in a relationship or that you have had a serious connection, but there are a lot of people who are late bloomers out there. And honestly, I don't even know if I like the term late bloomers because everyone is on their own time. And I felt that this reading was important so that we could acknowledge them. Now, as always, we have 5 piles to choose from. So before we get started, I do want to remind you to like, to comment, and to please subscribe. That is my selfish wish. I would love for you to be a part of the channel. And also, if you would like to be a channel member, I offer the monthly readings, the yearly look aheads, and I'm also planning some other goodies for you guys. So feel free to join the membership, and I'll be just very happy that you joined. Trying to think if there's any more announcements. No. Oh yeah, get a private reading from me, of course. Yeah, if you would like my reading style, or if you like my reading style, feel free to go to the description bar below. You can go through my Etsy shop, or you can go through the booking form. Either way, whatever your preference is. And we are going to get started. So we have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, pile number 4, and pile number 5. So let's not waste any more time and just sit back, relax, and choose. Hey pile number 1, let's get into your first serious relationship. So we have the Ace of Swords on the Before Tarot deck. I just thought the Before Tarot deck would be fitting for this. We have the King of Coins. That would actually be a reverse following the swords. And then we also have the Ten of Swords, also reversed. Then we have the Lovers here and the Hermit. So let's get into this. When we talk about what's going on in your first serious relationship, well, this is a type of person who is very sharp, okay? There's someone who is always aiming to, I guess, test new ideas. There's someone who has a lot of idealization, I want to say. Now, this is not necessarily a bad thing, you know. Everyone has flaws, okay? So, and this is just about the second thing I'm about to say. They may struggle with execution of all of their ideas because that King of Swords is reversed here. And when I see the King of Swords, sorry, the King of Coins in this position, following the Ace of Swords, this is about someone who may need to focus and, you know, really sit down to hone in on their ideas. And I think this is something that they're actively working on. So this shouldn't be a concern for you. So how this unfolds within a dating context is maybe they have all of these different ideas for dates and everything along the lines of that. And they're like, oh my gosh, I want to take you to this amazing restaurant, etc. Da, da, da. But then they forget to book the reservations and they show up and there's no reservation. And then you guys have to, I guess, wait, you know, for you to be seated or something along the lines of that. That could be something that they are consciously working on, especially since we have the Ten of Swords reverse. So the Ten of Swords reverse unfolds in the sense of like, they're letting go of anxieties. They're letting go of overwhelming themselves with too many thoughts, with too many ideas at once. And they're trying to fine tune that sharpness, because on the Before Tarot deck, they're pulling the sword out of the rock, right? The sword isn't completely within their hand yet. They aren't as clear-minded as they would like to be, but the intentions are very, very good. And they obviously would like to treat you right, because we have that King of Coins in the reading. The King of Coins can be someone who they think about a lot of different things, but then they might miss the small details sometimes because they can get in the space of being overwhelmed, all right? So I just want you to know that quirk about their personality. But with the Lovers card here, like I said, I really do believe that this person has really great intentions. And this is something that they are actively working on. Now, when we talk about like, what is this person like? And other aspects of their personality, they're a very thoughtful person, as we can tell here with that Ten of Swords reverse. When we see the Ten of Swords, that's somebody who cares a lot, okay? Their mind is crowded with thoughts. They are someone who wants to make a good impression. They are someone who's always reflecting and trying to develop and grow. The Hermit card goes within themselves to look for inner guidance. And they're always trying to refine their output based upon their input, you know, meaning, you know, if they have any sort of behaviors or actions or thoughts that really aren't in alignment with receiving the results that they would like, then they're going to go inward and think about it and say, okay, well, how can I approach this differently? So you have a very thoughtful individual. So if you have like a critique of them, and it could be something small like, hey, you know, maybe you should make a couple of style changes, you know, they're going to look inward and think, you know what, let me actually think about that, because I have heard maybe this before, and you're right, maybe my presentation does need a few, you know, tweaks, something along the lines of that. But they are someone who is always looking to refine their daily, I guess you'll say, lifestyle. You know, everyone has a routine, right? And so like a routine might be saying something like, I get 7 hours of sleep, or I get 6 hours of sleep. And then they're like, you know what? Maybe I do better with 7 hours, or maybe I do better with 8 hours, or maybe I do better with 6.5 hours. They're always looking for a way to refine their life so that it flows in a harmonious way, because that is what the Lovers card is about. So you're really dealing with someone who understands how important it is to have a very practical external structure. And I think they're learning more and more about that as they grow as a person, okay? So I just want you to know that this is someone who will refine their process. They are generally going to be someone who's quiet and private. They're not exactly the type of person who's going to debate with you within a moment. Like I said, if you have a critique, they're not going to come back and, I guess, push back on that too much. You know, this is something that they take in and say, okay, let me think about this. Let me consider this. All right. I do want you to know that it's all about optimizing for alignment with them. All about taking in that feedback. They are not generally a defensive person. And I think that's a very positive quality within them that is going to really shine within your relationship. Also with the Hermit, we have someone who you could potentially lean on for any sort of advice. Let's say, you know, you're having a bad day, or maybe you're having a problem or a challenge. Well, the Hermit card connects to Virgo, the house of challenges, conflicts, and all of the things that are very, very difficult within the material world and life. And so this is the type of person who's going to want to help you find practical solutions for what it is that you are dealing with. But then they're also someone who is a good listener. We also have the Lovers card here, and that connects to Gemini. Both of these are mercurial ruled placements. And one thing that I know about mercurial ruled placements is it becomes all about self-awareness and growing and developing, and then eventually getting to that place where you can open up and be vulnerable with someone. So you have someone who is very committed to being a self-improver, not just within their own personal life, but within the relationship, because that Lovers card is right next to the Hermit. So they think about the relationship. They're not just thinking about themselves. They're thinking about like your perspective. They're trying to understand your perspective, like your point of view and the things that you say. And they want to be someone who can, I guess, offer something to you that even if you're not looking to fix your problems, they want to be the person to provide that listening ear. So I do want you to know that. A lot of mental flexibility here. Very, very intelligent person, especially when we get into the mercurial energy. And when I get the Ace of Swords, that's generally going to be somebody, there's generally going to be somebody with a sharp mind here, and someone who's going to be very growth oriented. I don't know if I can emphasize that enough for you. Okay, I really do feel like this person over time is going to show you a lot of consistency and vulnerability and honesty, and you're really going to get to see them in all sorts of environments. Now, if we get into what the relationship looks like, well, to me, the relationship looks like refining a lot of different communication and expectations, because generally when I get the King of Coins reversed, like I said, that's somebody who wants to do big things or who has these big expectations. But with the Ten of Swords, it's like reversed. It's like, okay, how do I communicate this? How do I streamline this so it doesn't come across like I'm being demanding, or I'm making all these rules, or I am making some missteps, or I am, what's the word? I'm being offensive. Like they're trying to be careful with how they communicate with you because it's important to them. And I think that this is a type of relationship you guys are going to be a little bit more in a hermit mode here, quite literal, meaning this is less about let's go out and go to the bars and restaurants, etc. Not saying that you'll never do that and have cute date nights, but the cute date nights will probably take place more within the home, just because the Lovers and the Hermit card, they're pretty close to home cards. I do want to say that. They're not exactly cards of like, let's go to, I'm trying to think. Let's go out every weekend. You know, this is more so like, let's try a game night. Let's try something that is going to be fun and intimate. And I don't want a whole bunch of people around, and let's enjoy each other's company. And if you're the type of person who likes that, who likes staying at home, who likes having those cute movie nights, who enjoys the company within your private abode, then this is the relationship for you, because that is what is unfolding here. For them, that intimacy happens within a private space. And I think that's something that is going to be a defining characteristic for your relationship, especially as you guys go about clarifying boundaries. And so an example of clarifying boundaries would be something along the lines of, you know, I am somebody who prefers to call over text, and I guess it's not more so a boundary, but more so like what you would like to happen within a relationship, because boundaries are more for yourself. But the point is, let's say you're someone who prefers to call over text, And within the relationship, it's like, oh man, but I'm quite a texter. And then you guys have to work out that compromise. The thing with the Lover's card is I always get that to represent sort of like smooth sailing. Like, we got along, things were good. It was a very positive environment. Everyone was well-mannered. Everyone got along. Like, I generally get the Lover's card to represent that. Lots of conversations. No one's trying to be rude or overtalk each other or essentially be this domineering force, right? So I do think that this is a very equal relationship where you intentionally put in effort and they intentionally put in efforts, because Gemini is the sign placement of efforts. Okay, so I do want you to know that. But there's definitely a lot of filtering for them before they speak. Now, if we get into what they look like here, generally with the Swords and the King of Pentacles, it's actually interesting because I can kind of get this combination of cards to represent somebody who is, you know, those people who are like, they can kind of eat what they want and they're like thin without even trying. That's generally what we see here, because the Ace of Swords can give it quite sharp features, but then the King of Coins reverse is generally going to be somebody who's not very particular about their diet or what exactly that they put into their system as much. And this is not to say that they don't care at all, but generally the appearance is like, hey, you know what? For somehow you are thin and I don't know how. Like, that's just generally the vibe of the cards. So that's kind of their shape, if you are wondering that. And for their appearance, generally the Lover's card, how do I explain the appearance? Somebody who looks very friendly. You know how some people have very like open, big smiles and they come across like very approachable and warm. That's the type of vibe that they have. And they're not someone who's going to be very dressy. The King of Coins reverse and the Hermit card are cards that have to deal with humility and keeping things simple. Like the King of Coins, when he's reversed, he's like, I'm at home, I got my feet up, and yes, I have a robe on, but maybe it's a Gucci robe, you know what I mean? Maybe it's a Dolce & Gabbana robe, but it's still a robe. So you have somebody who is like, I like nice items, but I don't want the items to be flashy. I don't want them to be, you know, like the normal King of Pentacles where he's got like these elaborate designs and things along the lines of that. That's not them. They're probably very much like t-shirt, jeans, plaid shirts. Like, this is very, very, very low key when it comes to the wardrobe here. Now, how you feel within the relationship, like I said, I really do feel as though this is a relationship where you're both learning. I feel like this is a relationship where it feels as though you both have a lot to offer and a lot to give, but you're both still learning and trying to understand each other. And I really like that there is a sense of effort being put in. It doesn't feel as if one person is, how do I say, pushing and striving the relationship forward. It doesn't feel like there is someone who's putting in all the effort or someone who's giving in all the time or somebody who is always over checking in. I mean, like every minute of the day. It doesn't feel like that. It feels as if you are both just trying to learn and grow with each other. And I really do feel that is the beautiful part of the relationship that is going on here. I think that their appearance comes across as though some people might maybe underestimate them at first because they don't really look so dominant or aggressive or, you know, something like that. But, you know, the Hermit card here does suggest that they are generally a healthy person. I'm just looping back to their appearance because it just came to mind to me that when we get this 10 of Swords person, it's like somebody's coming out of like a stage of stress. And you know how people can look very like tired and weak when they're stressed like that. And so, and especially with the King of Coins, like it's like someone who is, like I said, they have this humble vibe. And so they get maybe underestimated when it comes to the appearance. But like I said, they're quite a healthy person, probably a bit strong. The Hermit card does connect to Virgo, and so that does have an element of, I don't know, physicality, you know, to it. Though I don't, but the vibe is, I don't get this vibe that they work out a lot, you know, I just don't. Some people are just naturally physically strong though. There is obviously a youthful quality. We have both mercurial signs here and, you know, 2 sword cards. So definitely they look pretty young. They look a lot younger than you would expect them to look. So if you like a mature look, you might want to choose a different pile because they don't necessarily look significantly older. But, you know, that's I think you'll find them to be very attractive. The Lover's card does have this reputation to connect with chemistry and all of that jazz. So I really do feel like that's something there that, you know, you'll like them. You'll like what they look like. If we're getting into who is initiating and who's pursuing first, I think that they are, how do I explain this? They're going to start the conversation, but it actually kind of gets very interesting because this is more so of a mutual pursuit, but they are definitely the person who talks to you first, for sure, with the Ace of Swords. But that King of Coins individual is someone who can, like I said, they get in their head too much. And so a part of them pulls back and they're like, oh, I don't want to like over communicate or like blow up your phone every second. So like maybe a part of them is like, oh, let me play it cool, especially with the Hermit card there, because I get that card for ghosting, not to say that they're going to ghost you, but I get that card for pulling away a bit. And so I do feel like this person is going to obviously talk to you first, but then they're just getting their head and like, oh, I don't want to talk to them. And they might think I'm weird and da-da-da-da. And so it becomes more so like mutual pursuing after that. Hopefully that's not too off-putting for you guys, but they are very much into you. We know that here with the Lovers, and it's a positive experience being with you, and you like being with them, and it feels happy. If we look at like what your friends and your family think, you know, I don't necessarily think that your friends and family are cued into every aspect of this relationship. I really feel like you talk about them, and maybe when you talk about them, it comes across like you're complaining a little bit, and this is not diss on you, but you know how it is. Like you get with someone, well, you have people that in your life, and they have a lot of great qualities, but then they do something that annoys you, and you want to vent, right? And I feel like with your friends and family, you're venting to them a little bit, and so they're not sure completely and totally what to think of the person that you're with. When they see you guys together, they feel as though this is harmonious and balanced, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of drama or anything going on, but sometimes you might get frustrated with their communication style. So I do think there is that. Overall, I really do feel like this is someone who is well-mannered, and I feel like this relationship just undergoes a couple of micro adjustments, and they're not exactly someone, like I said, they don't come across very argumentative or aggressive or anything like that. They're more so problem and solution oriented and wanting to keep the peace. You know, that's kind of like the vibe when it comes to them. So that is something I want you to know about. I don't think your friends or family pick up on any malice, but like I said, it's just an ambiguous vibe. I think that is what I want to say for now when it comes to your first relationship. And to me, it's definitely a relationship where you're going to grow and develop a lot, and you're going to learn a lot about yourself. And I think that you'll feel very supported in the fact that you have someone to talk to, someone who you can have these long conversations with, and it feels like you can talk to this person for hours. Like that's something that's very pivotal to this relationship, and it keeps things interesting, and it keeps things going, especially when we have Mercurial vibes. That's all about changing, and Mercury's cute, quick paced, and you know, when you call somebody mercurial, they're very changeable, right? And so this relationship undergoes a lot of different changes and transformation, and so you're definitely never bored with this person. Anyway, that is what I have for you, pal number one. Hopefully you have a very beautiful first relationship, first serious relationship, I should say. And I will see you next time. Au revoir. Hey, pal number one. Let's get into your first serious relationship. We have the Emperor on the Before Tarot deck. He's standing up, just about to sit down, take his throne. We have the Knight of Coins. We have the Eight of Swords reversed. Let me see this. I don't know why I'm making them crooked. We have the Five of Cups. And we have the Nine of Cups. That is interesting. All right. So when we get into this first relationship, right away, you definitely have someone who is very masculine. So what I mean by that is that there's somebody who's very take charge, and someone who is like, I want to set the schedule. I want to plan the date. I want to initiate. So for sure, they're pursuing you without a doubt. Doesn't matter who you're into, men, women, doesn't matter. This is a type of person who is like, I'm coming for you. in a good way, right? And I think when it comes to their personality, they're definitely very much a go-getter. And I like this because it's like the Emperor on the Before Tarot deck. It's almost like he has just been crowned, or maybe he just woke up, but I'm going to take it like he's new to emperoring, you know. Maybe, you know, he just got his title. He's about to sit on his throne, and he is going to get comfortable there. And two things come to mind when I think of this. Number one, they're in a place in their life where they have just gotten to, I guess, a pivotal point, whether that's in their career or some goal. You know, some people, like, maybe they've just been promoted to senior manager or director, and then they've just bought a house. It's like the Emperor just sat on his throne. It's like, okay, I'm in this place where I'm stable and things are secure, and like I'm just now getting to this new stage in my life. The second thing I want to say is this person who you're in your first serious relationship with is that they have just gotten out of maybe their playboy, playgirl era. And now they're in a space where they're like, oh, I'm serious now. Like, I'm settling down. Like, I'm done with the casual vibes, the dating this and that and that. And I want something serious, okay? Which makes sense. This is your first serious relationship. And so they're out of that stage in their life, and they're not here to mess about. So I do want you to know that when it comes to their energy and their headspace where they are at. Interesting though, when we have this Knight of Pentacles here, because the Knight of Pentacles, I often get to represent that someone is working a lot, and they are working overtime. Okay, they are grinding away, and it could be because, like I said, the Emperor is just about to sit on his throne, so he's new here. And you know how when you first, like, let's say you first get a new job, right, and you want to make a good impression, and so you are, I'm not saying you do this, but this is pretty common, and you are like saying, okay, you know what, I will work overtime, or I'm going to work holiday shifts. Like, let's say you're a nurse and you're like, okay, I'll be the one to work this kind of shift, and I'll get that double pay. You're putting in more work and more effort. Or like, oh, I don't want to take a vacation. I want to be here all the time or something, and I'll cover your shift. And or if you don't work in that type of environment, you have an office environment, it's like, oh, I'll take up this project. I'll do that work. I'll take on that assignment. I'll email this person. I'll contact this vendor, etc. You know, all of that. You know, it's very much in that space. And I feel like because maybe they're in a new role in their life, career-wise, or even in some other area, then this is them almost in a way like overcompensating for it and really, really putting in that work with that Knight of Coins energy. And so what this looks like is that you may be in a relationship with someone who is extremely ambitious. You know, they work a lot of hours, maybe long hours. And I can definitely see it here with the Eight of Swords reverse and the Five of Cups, that there's going to be some adjustments when it comes to the relationship, just because that energy is very much, we're on the grind, you know, like, you know, it's very much that. And I don't know why, because the Emperor, like I said, they're in a space in their life where they, like I said, may have just gotten promoted, passed some sort of licensing exam, closed on a house, like have this stabilized income. And so they've spent like these years going through roles and positions that weren't as stable. And now they're in this place of leadership and they're ready to build their life. But they're still like in this headspace from their past. So I think throughout this relationship, that's something that they're going to let go of. And the reason I say they let go of, because we have the Five of Cups. You know, they're like, oh wait, like I don't have to do that anymore. And so eventually you guys spend more time together, because we get to this Nine of Cups here on the end. So it works out, guys. But I just definitely see that. Don't mind me, guys. I'm not trying to be negative. Trust me. I'm just trying to like articulate the things that might come up that you might be like, okay, this is, you know, like I don't like this part of the relationship. You know what I mean? And the only reason I'm doing that is to prepare you so you can make decisions and think for yourself. I'm not trying to like rain on your parade or anything like that. Just that could be my anxiety too, because I like to prep ahead. This is just the headspace that I am. But trust me, this is a very great person. You're with someone who is very much like, I would like to plan things. Like if you're going to the airport, they want to handle the tickets. They want to be the one to say, I'll rent the cars. I'll make sure that the pets are at the, I think they go to vets. Like, where do they go to? I don't have any pets, guys. I think you can drop them off at like vets and stuff, and are people who take care of animals. There's definitely people who have that type of business if you're like on vacation, like a little pet daycare thing. This also becomes that they're very decisive as well. So if you're thinking about, you know, is this person very confused, or if they're going to leave you in this headspace where you're wondering and thinking about things and like, do they like me? Do they not like me? No, it's pretty clear. They make it very well known that they like you for sure, and that they are interested and want this relationship to last. And so it's almost like you get into this headspace where you're like, oh, okay, that is what consistency looks like. And the reason I mention this is because you have this Eight of Swords here, and the Eight of Swords, when they're upright, they almost sometimes feel trapped in a pattern. Like, oh, I always get these type of people, and I never escape this, and I need to reevaluate my relationship with men or women, and I don't know why I attract this type. You know, they get into the space where they feel a little bit almost hopeless or even demoralized. But to me, in this relationship, you're managing to let that go. Sorry again, guys, my camera overheated. So you're able to let that mindset go and almost in a way relax. You're like, wow, this is great. And I think we have this Five of Cups energy is because there's a part of you that will reminisce on the past and say, wait, this is what I was missing this whole time. And you're disappointed that you had to even deal with those situations. So there's a little bit of like ruminating on like, man, I could have been having this whole time. Like, I wasted so much of my time on these people who were not compatible with me, who didn't have what I was looking for and didn't offer me that sense of safety and stability that this person is adding to my life. And it feels like a little bit of like, maybe you're comparing this relationship to people you've dated within the past and or gone on dates with, or even had situationships with, and you're just like, ugh, you know, why did I do that? Why did I waste my time with those individuals? With this relationship, there's no mixed signals. You're not guessing. You're not thinking about like, when are they going to text me? And are they going to follow through on these plans? And they state what they clearly want, and there's no hot and cold, and there's no disappearing, and they're always full on, perhaps a little too full on, to be completely honest. Especially with the Knight of Pentacles. Like I said, that Knight of Pentacles shows up, like, for sure. If there's anything, it's almost like obsessive in a way. So very reassuring behavior, and, you know, throughout this relationship, because the Knight of Pentacles is growing. And like I said, to me, I really feel like there's part of them that this might even be their first serious relationship too. Just because, like I said, they're the Emperor first sitting on their throne. They're getting into this headspace where they're like, oh, it's time for me to actually shift my behavior and my mentality. So that's something that I see with them. And so they're really trying to impress. They're really trying to find some way to make this relationship beautiful and happy. And I guess I want you to know, like, there's a sense of shared fulfillment there. Is just what I want to say. But they might be overcompensating and trying to make sure everything is like secured and balanced. And so you have that aspect to them. Now, when we talk about the Emperor, when it comes to just appearance and things like that, I'll be honest, like, the Emperor is somebody who's pretty, I don't know why I say I'll be honest, like I'm about to deliver something disappointing, but like, the Emperor is pretty much somebody who's very desirable, right? Even if they're not physically like Hollywood looks and all of that jazz, they're definitely somebody a lot of people find attractive. You know, it's the Emperor here. So you're with someone who a lot of people find attractive. And I think what draws them to you in a way is that you're of the same mindset of growth and expansion. And also you have this sort of do-it-yourself type of mentality as well. Like, you come across as a go-getter, and they like that because they feel understood with you. And I think you also in a way feel understood by them. Because there's this aspect of you both liking to grind. You both liking to work hard. You both liking to get the things that you desire out of life. And I really do feel like out of this relationship, you come out of your shell a little bit. You feel like you can be more open and express yourself, and even express the tough emotions here, especially when we talk about the Five of Cups. You're like, oh, I have a safe space that I can be vulnerable. You know, I can open up. And they feel the same way, you know, especially like the Nine of Cups is here because you both enjoy this relationship. You're like, this is amazing. This is a dream come true. This is something I always wanted. This is amazing. You're no longer in this headspace where you're just bracing yourself for disappointment, because that is not what they're here to offer you. Don't get me wrong. I want to say, because we have this Five of Cups under the Emperor, it's not like they are somebody who is Mr. Upbeat or Mrs. Upbeat all the time. The Five of Cups definitely shows somebody who's had a past, who has had to deal with situations, who has had to deal with strong disappointments in life, and they've really had to overcome it. And I really do feel like you both have this safe space for each other, that you two can open up and feel like you could talk about past heartbreaks or regrets or emotional lows or times in your life that just weren't good. But this relationship feels like very satisfactory, fulfilling. It's like you both are thinking, this is what I've always wanted. Like, why did I have to deal with all of that, you know, BS in the past? You know, there's that. There's a lot of mutual respect and obviously attraction, because we have this Emperor card and he connects to Mars, and Mars is the planet that connects to a lot of sexual desirability here. You know, I don't know what I can say on YouTube, but that is something that is there and present, so you don't have to really worry about the chemistry aspect of this relationship. So I do want to say this just feels like a beautiful relationship. The relationship begins pretty slow and steady. I want you to say that, I already let you know that they're pursuing you. They're taking their time to pursue you. They're pretty overly cautious here, especially when we have the Knight of Coins. This is very much like, I am watching your behavior. I'm observing things. We're going on dates. This is not rushing into a relationship. You guys really get to know each other before, you come and collide and form a union. And also, like, as I mentioned, they have a lot of leadership qualities, and so they really kind of set the tone for the relationship. Don't know how you guys feel about this, but the Emperor is very traditional. So whoever has the most masculine energy, they're going to form those traditional dynamics. So, a traditional dynamic is like, man works, woman stays at home, man pays for dinner, woman shows up, looks beautiful. But they have pretty traditional dynamics and expectations within a relationship. And I don't think you have an issue with that at all. So, I don't know. If you do have an issue with that, then, maybe choose a different pile. But clearly this is something that is like, I'll hold the door for you. And this is like whoever the masculine energy is within the relationship, whoever's taking the initiative, who's ever pursuing who's ever planning the dates. Like, this is very much like, I'm going to show up to the date with flowers and chocolates and gifts. And I want to put on a romantic Valentine's Day. And I want to be the person who's going to pay for this date. And, let's go out to dinner. Like, it's a very traditional. Okay, you guys know what traditional is, the expectations that goes with that. And so, like I said, if that's something that's not for you, maybe choose a different pile. There's a lot of consistency, stability, and commitment. I don't think I see crazy emotional intensity that you might see with like the Lover's card or the Death card or something along the lines of that. This is not to say that you two don't love each other and care for each other, but it doesn't feel as though it's this crazy, overly the top obsession with each other or anything like that. I will say the Knight of Coins, they could possibly be more maybe obsessive when it comes to their pursuit and planning things that might be appeasing or making sure you're comfortable and being like very proper and well-mannered. Those are the things that can happen. But it's not like, how do you explain emotional intensity? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? It's not this whirlwind of like devil card energy or something like that. I do think that you have this feeling, or maybe even they have this feeling, because maybe it's both of you guys, where you go from this place where you're both almost showing up as your best selves to finally releasing that and dropping this image of perfection. And I think that even if in this relationship there are some emotional lows that expectations aren't met, it actually ends up being a good thing, because this Nine of Cups energy is all about teaching you to open up, to take a mature mindset, and it feels like, oh, okay, this person isn't perfect, I'm not perfect, and we're both growing together, right? Because that you have to get to the Nine of Cups, you have to go through the Eight of Cups, right? So you pass on from this stage that you're leaving behind things that just don't make sense for you anymore. Like emotionally, you're like, this doesn't even make sense for me. Why am I holding on to this? And I think that's both of you when it comes to your behaviors, certain habits or certain ways of thinking, whatever the case, either or both. And you both finally get to that stage where you release that and it feels better for you. So the relationship grows better over time. It's just something that I want you to know. You feel more emotionally satisfied. You feel more self-aware. You feel a sense of contentment and clarity, and this relationship feels very, very secure, even if it goes through a stage of disillusionment. It doesn't feel like you guys are falling out of alignment. And I think it's I don't know, I just feel like it's a lot of mutual respect here. A lot of happiness and joy and fulfillment. And what your friends think, friends and family, you know, it's actually interesting because it's like very mixed. With friends and family, this is like almost as if for friends or family, one of them, whoever, maybe certain individuals, this relationship kind of like dashes their expectations of who they might expect you to be with. And I say that because we have this 5 of Cups and 8 of Swords energy, right? When 8 of Swords is upright, they're confused, right? When it's reversed, it's like, oh, like I have some clarity in mind. Like something is revealed to me. And this 5 of Cups in this position is like, okay, this was revealed to me. Not exactly what I was hoping for, but it seems like you're happy. So I'm not sure what they were and this is certain individuals. Other people, they feel as though, okay, this is good that you're moving to a different stage in your life. And this person seems to be very responsible, and they seem to be the type of person who can take care of you, and you guys can nurture this relationship, and it feels as though this is really, really good. You know, I don't know if it's because they view this individual as a little bit like inexperienced or in a place in their life that is, I don't know, just not, or maybe they just don't fit the expectations that they had for you in some other manner, because I don't get the feeling that they're unstable or anything like that. Sometimes people have different cultural expectations. Maybe you're dating someone who is older or younger, and they're just like, oh, I didn't expect you to be with someone like that, right? Something along the lines, because that could happen. Maybe you're dating someone from a different culture, race, whatever, and they're like, I didn't know that. You know, they just didn't expect that. And I really do feel like they can't deny that the energy that you have within the relationship is a lot calmer. Other people, like I said, they feel as if this actually makes sense for you. You know, that they've kind of seen this all along, or they've seen aspects of it, and they're just like, oh yeah, now that I think about it, this makes total sense. Like it's that type of thought process here. But whatever the case may be, I think both of them agree, friends and family, that this version of who they kind of expected you to be with, to one degree, the reaction, like I said, is, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. And then to the other degree, it's like, oh, that's really not what I was expecting, but you guys seem to work together. And so it's like almost like some people are asking, are you sure? And then other people are like, now that I think about it. I don't know how to explain that better than what I just said, guys. But bottom line is that you've kind of subvert their assumptions with this relationship. Like this is something that will take people a little bit off guard, just a little bit. For some people, a lot of it, but it will catch them off guard, and they need that time to emotionally catch up. And then some people have that very positive reaction, and some people have just a little bit wrestling with confusion. And normally it's this Knight of Pentacles energy. And when I get the Knight of Pentacles, it could be because they have a different lifestyle, like I said, different culture, maybe not the job they expected. Maybe they don't look how they expect them to look. Pentacles tend to rule these types of things. Different habits, different values, different career, different goals, different lifestyle. These are the things that might catch them off guard. It's usually these type of things with this, okay? But that is what I want to say. And I think this is a beautiful relationship. I'm wishing you the best, pile number 2. And sorry for the camera interruptions. My camera just overheats. I've been trying to find a solution, but this is all I got. So be sure to get a private reading. Don't forget to join the lives. I can't wait to see you there. And au revoir. Hey, Val, number 3. Let's get into your first serious relationship. We have the Magician on the Before Tarot deck. He has just gotten placed. Look, he's got that snake around his neck. There's a monkey holding the pentacle. The wand is on the table. The cup is holding the cloud. The cloud is holding the cup. The hand and the cloud are holding the cup. Whatever. We have the Chariot here. We have the 5 of Swords. We have the 10 of Pentacles. This would be reversed. Then we have the Wheel of Fortune. Make sure I am looking at everything. Sometimes I'm doing my own thing and things show up crooked. Now, when we get into this Magician card here for your first relationship on the Before Tarot deck, I find this very interesting because the Magician here is in the ultimate rookie ultimate rookie position. He has everything he needs to be successful and to have a long-lasting, fulfilling relationship. And it is kind of perfect because it's like, in a way, it's up to you whether you want to ensure that you're using the communication tools that you know. For example, and this is not saying that you know this communication tool, but using I statements, you know, rather than you make me upset, or it's more so I feel sad when you, or I feel sad that, you know, this happens, etc. Like, instead of coming from a place of blame, it's like a place of vulnerability and how it makes you feel, right? So you have all of these tools in your toolkit to help you succeed, but you may not know how, you may not have mastered everything yet. You got to put it to practice. You got to put it to use. And it's interesting here because this 5 of Swords, sometimes I can get this to represent like a little bit of jealousy, a little bit of like, I don't know, like sometimes it's like passive aggressive remarks, etc. It's almost saying, and I'm not saying this is you, I'm not saying this is specifically what you're going through, but the 5 of Swords can represent some communication that needs some work. And it could be you, could be them, could be both of you. And it's almost as if you guys are trying to overcome certain communication habits or styles throughout this relationship. Now, I am not here to be queen of doom and deliverer of bad news, whatever. There's a lot of good things going in this relationship, but I like to have a overall big picture of how you're going to develop and grow within this relationship. So that's like the first thing that my mind goes into. I'm a self-improver, guys, so it's just the way my mind is focused. You pick the thing that you can improve upon, and then you do so. And the reason I say that this is important is because it's important for you to go into your first relationship here like it's a learning curve. And I'm not just saying that because this is your first serious relationship. Everyone else, all pals have their own different vibes and messages, and trust me. But with this pal here, it's like you both may mean well, but you may occasionally say the wrong thing. And I say you both may mean well because we have this Chariot card here. The Chariot card shows me that you're both aiming towards a healthy relationship, a strong momentum with a lot of emotional intensity there. This is connected to the sign of Cancer, right? So the relationship, in a way, I feel like this relationship is going to unfold fast. And because it unfolds fast, it's getting to the point where you guys might, or somebody in particular, might trip over their words, you know, a little bit like how I'm doing now. I'm trying to edit what I say because I don't want anyone to be upset. But essentially, somebody, maybe both of you, may mean well, but you say the wrong thing. And it's going to cause needing some course correction. this Five of Pentacles reversed, I often get this card to represent like not feeling like a team, not feeling like you're a part of a group or a relationship. It feels like, hey, we're not completely on the same page here. You know, this relationship is not either picture perfect like I imagined, or it doesn't quite fit my ideal version that I might have had in my head, or even just it feels like this is not the reality I signed up for. You know, it's basically you have to re-edit how you approach the relationship. And I'm specifically talking about you because you're the one listening to the reading. I'm not saying they don't got to do it either. For sure. So that it feels right for you. Because that Ten of Pentacles energy, when it's reversed, it's like, I don't feel we're working as a team. I feel like we're cutting each other down, or we're misunderstanding each other, or we're doing our own thing and not considering the other person, and it's just not right. Now, let's get into the positive things about this relationship, because I don't want to harp on the things that you're working on. And trust me, you'll work through it. The Wheel of Fortune is a card of growth, development, learning to work together. If this person has positive intentions, for sure, this is something that you will overcome, smooth out. The Wheel of Fortunes just speaks to the ebb and flows of a relationship and how there can be ups, there can be downs, but it's all about learning and growing. It is connected to Jupiter, the big, smart guru, where he's like, oh, I get it. And then the funny thing about Guru, Jupiter here, is he is actually really great at giving relationship advice. But when it comes to his own relationship, if you know the story, he actually neglected his partner, the Moon. Like, he's a stand-up guy. He does well. He's working hard. He's providing for his family. He thinks he's showing up. Like, he thinks he's doing a great job. But he is neglecting certain aspects of his own relationship because he's showing up for other people. And so Jupiter has to learn a little lesson. He has to learn a little lesson in love that that he may be great in a lot of areas. He may be a very smart teacher. He may be someone who has really great intentions, but he's got to learn a lot about love here. Okay, so I want you to know that it's a learning curve. It's about getting to know each other. It's about learning each other. It's about figuring out if you guys are the right fit. There's a sense of cycles and ups and downs and things that you can't control that are coming into play, but there are new beginnings for you and this relationship. And I say new beginnings because when we talk about the Ten of Pentacles reverse, one thing about it is it's like things aren't over yet, right? And so this shows me that you're continuing to work on the relationship because it's meaningful to you. Now, this is where I want to dive in and show that, you know, show that you guys are embracing change. You are embracing growth. You're embodying it with the positive things here. So the Magician card is someone who is very smart. And we're talking about your partner here. You're with someone who is highly skilled, highly intelligent, someone who is a fantastic storyteller, who's probably gone on all of these great adventures. When we talk about the Magician and the Chariot card here, as it relates to traveling, for sure, this is like, oh my goodness, I've been to Istanbul and then I've just got back from Kyrgyzstan, and like the Chariot card is like a super travel card. Love to see it personally, you know. But definitely they have that aspect to their personality of like been there, done that, gone to this place as well. The Chariot also creates this energy that focuses on ambition. You know, we don't think about Cancer connected to ambition, but you know, it's opposite to Capricorn, and Capricorn's opposite to Cancer. You know, they're looking at each other and they're like, okay, I like what you got going on there. And Cancer is their own, you know, force of nature here. They don't want to stop. They've got their eyes on the prize and they're extremely determined. And it's right next to that Five of Swords, which is about, I'll do anything to win. I'm going to get mine, right? And so you have this person who is this cutthroat individual, probably within their work life, and they're used to maybe even doing things their own way. And so there is a little bit of hard-headedness from them. But I really love the fact that they are someone who's successful, someone you don't have to feel like, man, this person is not motivated to do anything. No, for sure. This person is motivated to do a lot. They want stability in their life. They're not satisfied. I'm not saying they're not stable already, but they're not satisfied with their current situation, and they want to keep growing and they want to keep building. That 10 of Pentacles reverse is like, I got more to build. You know, this is cool, but there's more to it. You know, there's a lot more that I can accomplish. Like, so they have this internal fire which inside of them. And I absolutely love to see that they are coming from this place where they push hard because they care. And it's really not just about status and money for them. It may be even a little bit ego driven, but there's this restless nature within them where they don't want to slow down, where they don't want to get to this space where they are in a lull. And this is the type of person as after they achieve one goal, they're already on to the next. That 10 of Pentacles reverse is like, we don't celebrate, we just keep it pushing. Like, we've got to keep it going to the next thing. There's a lot I want to do here, especially that Wheel of Fortune there on the end. Okay, now they are someone who's very independent. They're used to trusting their own judgment. And, you know, I think their instinct is, I think what it is like, there's part of them that's taking that, like, that business-oriented mindset into the relationship. And so, like, this instinct to, like, push through and keep going and keep driving, it doesn't really work in a relationship. You kind of have to go through the motions, right? You have to slow down. You have to fully process things. You have to check in with each other. You know, it's not just like, okay, let's hurry up and solve the problem. Like, it's like, no, well, how do we get to this place, this solution, this issue in the first place, and where's this come from? And, like, you really got to go through it. And I think they aren't used to that dynamic. I do think that they're going to learn to soften that energy within the relationship. Like I said, this is a relationship of growth, expansion, development. You're both growing in so many different ways. You'll look back on your relationship and say, wow, I don't even recognize myself anymore. Like, I have matured so much. And I think also part of the thing with them is they're used to kind of doing things on their own and not having that teammate. And so now they have that teammate and they're just like, what do I do here? But ultimately, I do think that this person, like I said, they are very well-meaning. When we talk about the Magician and, like, what they look like, generally I will see this type of individual. It's actually interesting, but the Magician card connects to Mercury. And one thing that I see about Mercurial individuals is either they will have these, I don't know, it's something about the hair, okay? Like, whether that is they are known for a lack thereof, like, I'm bald, or two, they just have, like, very luscious commercial, like, you know, Garnier Fructis, you know, Head and Shoulders. I might be naming older brands here. Hair, like, you know what I mean? The hair is incredible. So, you know, they're very particular about their hair. their luscious hair here and taking care of it. And also they like a strong skincare routine as well. This is also someone who is, I would say if they're a woman, they're very beautiful. If they're a guy, they're pretty handsome. But for the most part, they are known for their expressive nature. This is the person who has the gift of the gab, okay? When I say they are a great storyteller, they are a fantastic storyteller. Like, this is the person you could talk to for hours and hours and hours and hours on end. and they've always got some new story, and they're very, very funny. So of all the pals that I've seen so far, this is the funniest person that you will encounter, right, as someone to be with. I really just noticed that very well kept, very well styled, very particular about how their wardrobe is, and not every pal is like that. But this pal in particular, yeah, they want you to know they're that woman, they're that man, they've got it like that, they're in control, they're very refined about their appearance. Like, this is the person who takes care of their appearance. And they're very detailed oriented in nature, so they will notice the small things when it comes to you changing your appearance and them changing their appearance. Like, grooming habits are essential to them. They take a lot of pride in that. Knowing what products works for their skin type. Trust me, I don't care if they're a man or a woman, they know. Okay, like being able to track like their dietary habits and what works for them, and if this makes their stomach upset, and if this is good in protein, if this has too much sugar. Like, this type of person is going to read the packages, the labels on the back of things, because they care about what they put into their system. It is that serious for them. I want you to know that for sure. And there is this focus, like this undeniable intelligence that you have with them. And it's a very playful vibe. You know, I don't think I've emphasized that enough. I think I focused too much on the growing. Sorry, guys. But they're a very playful vibe. You really enjoy being around them. You know, I'll say this. It's interesting when it comes to the discussing of the feelings and the emotions, because part of them is like very open discussing those feelings and discussing those emotions. But another part of them is just like, I don't know, they have this paranoia to them where they're just like, oh, they're going to use this against me. And I don't know if it's because they're coming from a rough past or what has been going on in their past or something, but they sometimes struggle with that. And it's something that they're going to have to learn and grow on, okay? Didn't mean to focus on the struggle. But I just wanted to say that because the expression of the feelings are interesting. For sure, they're pursuing you. They're the ones, like, talking to you first and coming up to you. And it's interesting because they come across, like, super confident. Like, unbelievably confident. Got a swagger to them. And I don't know how to say this. They don't want to sit still. They're not a silent person. They don't keep to themselves in a corner. They have plenty of friends. This is someone who is highly sociable. If that's someone you're interested in, that is who you're getting here. With the curated appearance, with the talking to everyone, with the making jokes, making people laugh, with the, you know, trying to maintain very good grooming habits, scheduled haircuts, you know, consistent skincare routine, knowing what products break them out, knowing food breaks them out, being aware of their body and their inputs and nutrition, and, you know, like, they are an adult. They're responsible, especially when it comes to taking care of themselves. But also, like I said, there's an element of cautiousness to them. Okay, so I do want you to know that. But they are attentive. It's actually interesting because also with Mercurial energy, especially if it's like Mercurial plus Cancer, I often met people who have placements like this, and they'll have like photographic memories. So I wouldn't be surprised if this person had a really great memory. Just want to know that as well. If we get into other aspects of the relationship, like, let's say we are curious about, like, I was going to say like your friends and family and what they may think. Well, when it comes to your friends and family for this relationship, I think that your family is going to have to learn to love this individual. I'm not going to lie. I think for your family, this is the type of person they feel like you're going to have to grow on me. And your friends, maybe to them as well, whoever it is that you feel like you're very close to, they're like, this person, I need time to let them grow on me, okay? And that's not necessarily bad. You know, everyone has their own personalities, their own cup of teas. And I think from their perspective, what's going on is, I don't know, I think they treat the confidence as maybe a little bit more braggy, or like maybe they're just generally, like, you might have friends and family who are just very protective of you. And so they're like, I need you to prove yourself to me. And I need you to, I don't know, I want to see the consistency. I want to know that you can hold a conversation, that you're polite, that you're engaged. You know, that, because the energy, at least at first, is giving, you know, they seem fine. Like, that's kind of like when your friends and family are saying, you know, they seem fine. Like, you know, that's the vibe. They need, they're not automatically rolling out the red carpet. I just want to say that. I mean, you know your friends and family better than, you know, I do, but this is what the cards are saying from my perspective, okay? But I don't think they're being rude at all. Maybe one of them, if they're kind of a blunt person. But for the most part, with that Wheel of Fortune energy there, it's like, okay, well, let's see who this person is first before we step in and accept them into our space, you know. And eventually they'll get to this headspace where they're like, you know, I didn't really get them or like them at first, but now I see why this worked for you, you know. It's like you slowly get fewer and fewer complaints and more stability within the relationship and more encouragement from friends and family. And, you know, I really think they're solid and they've really grown on me to like, you know, that's how this is going to unfold for them within this context of this relationship. I really do see that for you. And like I said, I really do feel like this relationship happens fast. And you guys just jump right into it, and there's a good connection. There's a lot of emotional similarities, and it feels like you guys are definitely the travel couple for sure. I mean, the Wheel of Fortune and the Chariot, this is like vacation trips. Like, we're going here, we're going there. Like, you guys love a vacation. You're not staying at home. Look, the Ten of Pentacles reversed. You guys are outside. So this is date night. This is going to, I don't know if you guys do laser tag, rock climbing, paint and sips. Like, you ever did cake tasting? Ooh, I can't even speak. Cake tasting, things like that. Like, you guys are outside the home doing things. And that's going on there too. So that's what I see for like how the relationship unfolds, for how you guys are moving, for like what you guys might be doing here. But I really enjoy this relationship. There's a lot of growing here. Like the cards want you to know, like, you're growing and developing with this individual, and they feel as though, I don't know, they really do make you laugh. So I just want you to know that. And that is all I have for you, pile number 3. Let me know if this resonates. If not, feel free to choose a new pile, a new reader. Either way, I'm very happy you stopped by. Don't forget, I go live on the weekends. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm trying to go live even more. You know, I really want to see what pattern we get into. I'm not going to commit to anything right now, but be on the lookout and hit the bell for the pop-ups until I have a regular schedule for extra lives. You know, my regular schedule is on the weekends, but if I'm doing extra stuff now, who knows? Also, get a private reading by me, and I will see you next time. Au revoir. All right, pile number 4. Let's get started on your first serious relationship. We have the Queen of Swords. Oh, she's so cute. Look at that. She's got the little cherub giving her the crown. Oh, so cute. Anyway, we have the 6 of Wands. We have the Strength card. We have the 6 of Pentacles here, and we have the Knight of Pentacles. That Knight of Pentacles wants to come out here. I'm telling you. Another spread got the Knight of Pentacles too. Make sure we get all the cards in the frame here. Hopefully you guys aren't crooked. Now we see this Queen of Pentacles, and I decided to use the Before Tarot deck because I felt like it was fitting, right? For a serious relationship. It's like, you know, a rookie behavior, just getting started, blossoming into something new and different. And we have the Queen of Swords. And you notice how she always has the little cherubs here on her throne. And I think she's the only queen who has that. And it kind of connects to an element of innocence, but then also having to deal with protection, being protected and protecting others, whether that be through intelligence and knowledge, or even just through restraint. Okay, so she's now entering the throne, she's being crowned, and she hasn't picked up her sword yet, but she's prepping for it. Okay, she's prepping to be this fierce, level-headed individual that people think sometimes is cold-blooded. And to be honest, I think that's you entering a new stage within your dating life when you meet this person in your first serious relationship. It's the first time you really stay strong within your boundaries. The Queen of Swords is someone who thinks 5, 6, 7, 10 steps ahead. And she doesn't let her emotions rule her, meaning she doesn't, you know, drink too much and then drunk text someone or drunk dial someone. Not that that's a judgment. Plenty of people have done it. I've done it, right? The Queen of Swords is like, I'm going to use my level-headedness and my thoughtfulness to control my behavior and to move in a way that is in alignment with who I truly want to be within my first serious relationship. And I really do feel like that is you. You're mentally sharper, you're self-controlled, and I don't know, I don't want to say you have like the upper hand, but it's almost as if this is part of the reason why this relationship holds so well. You know, sometimes we get into this space where we let go of our boundaries, or we don't want to say no, or we want to be this easygoing person who's nonchalant, who doesn't have any needs or whatever, and it ends up just creating a lot of resentment and stress inside. Well, this is not that. This is you actually stepping into the space where you aren't afraid to lose someone, so you move with a sense of force and clarity. Okay, you're sharper, you're wiser, you don't abandon your standards just because someone offers chemistry. Now, when we look at the Strength card here, the Strength card is almost in a way reinforcing that same energy. If something feels off, you address it calmly in a rational way. The Strength card is definitely that card where you need to be patient with others, also as patient with yourself. And so this is not to say you won't have any issues or anything within your relationship, or even that you'll have lots of issues. But when things come up, you're able to keep that level-headedness, and you don't have this fairy tale mindset that love is going to fix everything. You're like, no, I actually have to put in this work, and we actually have to have these conversations. And you observe how your partner handles stress. And to me, it feels like, because you take your time during the dating phase observing how they handle stress and conflict and responsibility before you decide to invest yourself emotionally, you end up with a partner who is a teammate who can support you, where this is mutually beneficial, where the relationship feels like a win, where you both feel as if you have someone who has your back, who is there when you need someone to lean on, who is consistently texting, who's reliable in their plans, who doesn't go through these like relationship, let's rush through things, or let's take 20 billion months to be boyfriend girl. Like, no, like you find someone who puts in the same amount of effort that you put in, because you go through so much vetting, strong vetting process during the dating stage. And so this next serious relationship, you're with someone who has strong emotional regulation, who doesn't act defensively. It's like you can go up to them and say, hey, you know, that didn't really sit right with me. Can we talk about it? And they can say, oh, you know, of course, like, I didn't need to come off that way. I'm very, very sorry. Like, how can I work on my delivery so that, you know, I can be better next time? Like, they come at you with a sense of openness. And I really think you both recognize that love is the end goal. Having a equal and beneficial partnership is an end goal. And so this is why I feel as though you both don't really have an issue with take accountability for your actions, especially with the Strength card here. So you're with someone who can take accountability. You're with someone who has a sense of grace. Don't get me wrong. The Strength card can show someone who needs a bit of guidance sometime, and that's fine. They don't necessarily have to be leaning on you for that guidance, and I think that's normal. We're all human. We all need advice sometimes. So whether that be them going to their friends or family or counseling or whatever to seek relationship advice, or whether they need to have different conversations with you to understand what is best for you guys within the relationship, whatever the case may be, it's like, okay, we'll figure out a way to move through this and work through this together. To me, I really do feel like you have someone who is happy about being a partner, who's happy about sharing the power within the relationship, who feels like decisions are discussed, who understands that both voices matter. And when you're stressed, they're not like, oh, let me disappear, or let me make it about myself, or this is not something I can handle, or, you know, there's a sense of confidence and wisdom and experience when we have these cards. You know, I mean, ultimately, I really do feel like this person is someone who takes strong responsibility and accountability for their actions and listens. So that is what I want to say. I think that when we talk about the relationship and who this person is, and I guess what they look like, or the general vibes that they have, is generally when I see, like I say, the Strength card can represent someone's athletic. It can also represent someone who is more mature. So definitely if you're into an older individual, that there are older individuals, that can be the case there. Queen of Swords. Swords generally are going to give a lot of sharp, different features, angular features, defined jaw lines, and sometimes long fingers, but less round features. Like there's not a lot of round features here. Six of Wands. Six of Wands, when it comes to appearance, that's generally going to be somebody who is good looking. Like, Six of Wands is someone who captures people's attention, who captures people's eyes. Like they're this unicorn in the crowd, and they're beautiful, and they're glowy, and they're rainbowy. Not being literal here, but honestly, it just shows a very good looking person, someone people enjoy looking at. So be on the lookout for that. They're definitely your type, and you feel like a winner with them, and they feel like a winner with you. And it was interesting, and I was listening to this podcast the other day where they were talking about, it's not like, oh, men are the prize, or women are the prize, or women and women are the prize, whatever, whoever you're dating. It's saying that the relationship is the prize, and having a healthy and loving relationship is what you guys will achieve. And I really love that for you, pile number 5. The vibes are really good with you guys. Don't get me wrong here. The Knight of Pentacles shows that there is something that is growing and developing. You don't walk into this perfect relationship. You don't walk into this space where it's like, this is a fairy tale and everything I've ever wanted to happen so smoothly and everything like that. No, but what it does show is that slowly and steadily, especially with that Knight of Pentacles there, you guys build the life and the reality that you want and that you enjoy and that you love. And it's not necessarily showing up and having these grand gestures. Though with the Six of Wands, I wouldn't be surprised if they threw in a grand gesture or two. But it's not really about that. What it's about is the growth and investing time and energy and effort into something that is worth it. And they feel like being with you is worth that time and energy. And you feel the same way. It's reciprocal, because we wouldn't have had that Six of Pentacles otherwise. You know, we just got the Six of Pentacles last week for the weekly collective. And last week, as I'm filming this, I'm way ahead, guys. Trust me. I got a lot of things to do, so I'm way ahead. Last week, as I'm filming this was Christmas. This tells you how far ahead I'll film. And it was all about giving, receiving, loving. Not saying for everyone, but for a lot of people, that was the vibes, that was the energy. I know from my personal experience, I think I might have given a lot more than I got, but I didn't feel like I was slighted. I wasn't like, oh man, people need to give me more next year and da, da, da. Like, no, it's coming from a place of like, I want to give. I want my friends and my family to be happy. I want them to get the things that they want. I want them to have a happy and beautiful experience. And so I really think that this is the mindset of you guys within the relationship, that you're like, you know, this is not about counting and keeping score about who does what and who got what. It's like, I want my partner to be happy, so I'm doing things to make them happy and make their life easier for them. And they're doing the same for you. You know, it's about being considerate of both people's time, efforts, energy, and understanding what it takes to be into a partnership. And it's like you guys are building carefully. Like, you come away a lot more secure and with a deeper understanding of what a healthy relationship looks like. So I want to emphasize that there. One thing that is interesting, though, is that we don't have a lot of cups. In fact, we don't have any cups, which tells me that you guys may be a little bit slower to open up when it comes to the vulnerability aspect of the relationship. You guys are probably more so, let me show you how I love you with the things that I do, with the advice that I give, with my time and energy. I'll make time for you. But going into these deep emotional talks, like certain pals would do that, but I don't think that's you guys as much. But then again, we're not doing a spread on the entire span of your relationship. Your relationship, your first romantic relationship could be somebody you marry, right? So your first serious relationship. So you can marry someone 10 years. This spread is not going to cover 10 years. But from what we see here is off the bat, like, you guys are not going into these areas where you're opening up about every single trauma that you've gone through. This is kind of more so, let's enjoy each other's company. I like you, you like me. There's some romance here. It's fun. We enjoy ourselves. We make time for each other. We consider each other's feelings, but we're not necessarily exposing our hearts to the fullest degree, you know? And this is not a judgment by any means, okay? I do want to say it. The love is just expressed through actions and showing up and providing support. Vulnerability will develop slowly, okay? I just want you to know that. But it's a very secure and healthy relationship from what I'm looking at. Just a lot of mutual respect and stability is coming through within the relationship. I really do think if we think about what your friends see, I think your friends and family, they think you got a catch. Like, you've got someone who's really great. They feel like this person's very talented, that they are someone who is fun and exciting to be around, that they're very personable, they're very charming, they're very witty. They think that this person's very considerate. They're like, oh, they're opening up the doors. Like, they're saying their please and thank yous. Like, they really like this person. And I don't know what else I could say there other than they kind of welcome this person on in, and they feel comfortable with them. They feel like they're a good fit. They really enjoy them. They get along. You know, your friends and family are like, this is cool. They're very impressive, you know. There's a lot of general interest. Versus, you know, some spreads, the friends and family more so interrogate the person, and they're like, who is this person? With my friend or my family member, or like, you know what I mean? Like, but that's not the vibe here. Your friends and family are kind of like, come on in, you know, like, you know, they feel like this is someone who can easily talk about work, hobbies. They sound impressive. They don't sound like they're bragging. They are fun to be around. They joke. They read the room. They don't dominate conversations. They listen. They talk. It's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of courtesy is shown, offering help to like clean up. You know, these are the things that this person will do. Being polite to servers, being attentive to people who are elderly, being someone who remembers names or tries to remember names. Like, I suck with names. So I feel like with the Queen of Swords energy, they're actually someone who's really, really good with names. And I don't know, they just leave a good impression on people, and people, like your friends or family, are like, hey, when you bringing them around again? Like, I like this person. So, you know, that's they just kind of naturally feel like this person comes into their life and they're like, I like this. I like this. Knight of Pentacles is interesting because the Knight of Pentacles definitely, I said this in another reading and I'll say it here too. Sometimes the Knight of Pentacles can overcompensate within a relationship, and it's like, I'm doing any and everything to make sure this person's having a ball. And sometimes they do too much. You know, it's like they're sending a good night text every single night. They're sending a good morning text every single night. Like, how are you doing? Did you eat today? Like, you know, they do a lot. And it's because they care and they are trying to figure out the best way to show it. And so either that could be you, that could be them, it could be both of you. But either way, it's like, you guys are going to have to learn to chill on that a little bit, because I think both of you are going to be like, oh, it's okay, I'm fine, like I'm doing good. You don't have to keep asking me, you know, how am I feeling every 2 seconds. Like that's the kind of, well, maybe not how I'm feeling, but maybe more so like, you know, did I have a good day, or is everything fine, or do you like the restaurant, do you like the food? Like, you don't have to keep checking in every 2 seconds. So there's that element to that, but obviously it comes from a good place. This is good natured energy that I get from these cards. The dominant sign here is Leo, because we have the Strength card here. Leo's the house of fun. It's the house of education. It's also the house of children. If you want children, the first serious relationship could be someone that you have a child with. And I never say things like this, but just want to throw it out there. Also, you know, when we talk about the 5th house things, I like 5th house transits for the most part. And I say that because they bring about a lot of different activities and exploration. And they also make you learn about the world by experiencing it. Sometimes with the 3rd house and some of the air sign houses, the education is more book oriented, but when you start to get to the fire signs like Aries, 1st house, 2nd, 5th house, 9th house, Sagittarius, Leo, it's learning by actually doing the activities. Because I was trying to figure that out one day, because I always reflect and think about different placements and cards in astrology, and then I do my research, and I was like, wait a minute, these air sign houses, they obviously connect to air education as well, but they're like education through a classroom, book context, which is very useful, because sitting around and having these roundtable discussions, you will learn a lot. But when we talk about the Leo energy, we talk about the Sagittarius energy, we talk about the Aries energy, it's like, I'm learning through doing stuff. And why is this important within the relationship? Because this can represent that you guys are just trying new things together. You know, for example, I've seen the couples, they might say, okay, we're going to do a little helicopter ride together, or we're going to do bungee jumping together, or we're going to do flying trapeze, or, you know, we're going to try something fun. I'm naming like more adventurous activities because, you know, I'm a little bit of a daredevil, but it doesn't have to be that. You know, it could be like we're going to bingo night. Like I saw this one thing where they have bingo night at IKEA, and it keeps getting sold out near me. It keeps getting sold out, and I'm trying to make it there. So you might just be like something along the lines of that. Like it's fun, it's bingo, but it's in IKEA, and it's like, what's going on? So there's that element to it. So you're trying new things together, and you're experiencing the flow. The chemistry's there. It's off the charts. We know that already. Leo is also a sign placement that can be very humorous, and humor can be a way that, you know, sometimes they deflect. But one thing that I see about the Leo energy is the unbelievable amount of creativity that they have as well. And this is why I say there's a romantic element. And I think I said that they might try those big gestures every once in a while just because they have this romantic side to them. I was watching this video of this couple talking about their proposal, and what the guy did was he made a magazine of them, and they were on the cover of the magazine, and all of the articles kind of highlighted moments within their relationship. And then at the end of the magazine was the proposal, will you marry me? You know, so this is what I mean by like gestures and things that are romantic within the relationship. You guys are probably the most romantic spread. So I'll say that off the charts here, but you know, you're traveling together, you are going through all of these strange, awkward moments, you're connecting with friends, you're doing pottery workshops, spontaneous road trips. It's fun. It's fun, you know, you're laughing all of these strange and wild moments off, okay? That's what I see about this relationship. Like if one of you is like, I want to try these new food, go to this new food stall or like this new food place, and the other person's like, all right, fine, let's do it. You get it. It's like you get each other out of your comfort zones. And that's what I like about this relationship. But you don't cross it to the point where it feels like this is risky. But anyway, that is what I have for you, pal number 4. Hopefully this resonates. If not, feel free to choose a new pal, new reader. Either way, I'm very happy to stop by. I think that is all I want to say for now. I don't want to go on too much. I think I might have talked you guys' ear off too. I'm already checking my timer, and I'm like, oh goodness, I didn't mean to go talk so much. But I love reading for you guys. I love doing the spreads. If you want like to go in more of the astrology, come through on the lives. I'm starting to do more astrology lives as well. You can ask questions for astrology and tarot live. I also offer private readings, which you can find in the description bar. You can go through my Etsy shop, or you can go through my booking form. Either way, depends on what payment method you prefer or which system you prefer. Sometimes the booking method's easier for people. Sometimes Etsy's easier for people. Either way. But I'll see you next time. Au revoir. Hey, pal number 5. Let's get started on your first serious relationship. We have the Fool. How fitting. And this is on the Before Tarot deck. So you can see, you know, they have their little dog here and flowers, and they haven't gotten to the cliff yet. They're just picking their flowers. Then we have the Tower. Then we have the Magician. Wow. Okay. Then we have the 5 of Swords and the Knight of Swords. I think these cards are so fitting for a first relationship, especially given the Fool, the Magician, and this Tower moment, because in a way it's like opening your eyes to what it's really like to be with another person in a very committed manner. And I feel like some of the expectations or some of the thoughts that you had about what it would actually be like are being reset, or you are letting go of any false ideas or things that just don't really make sense or don't align with the present happenings of the relationship. One thing I'll say about this relationship is there is an element of innocence here for both of you parts. And this is not to say that, you know, you guys are just naive and you don't know anything about the world or blah, 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 blah. But I think you both go in with thinking that, in a way, because the Fool, you know what the Fool's like, he's picking daisies and roses. He's not even paying attention to the fact he's near that cliff, right? And so it's kind of like you both go in with this sense of this is going to be very loving and caring, and it is going to have those qualities to it for sure. But there's going to be some things that may catch you off guard. I'll say that with the Tower here, because the Tower represents those surprise moments, things that you weren't expecting, things that I don't want to even say it's bad, because the Tower is not necessarily always something that is this big tragic thing. I mean, I've literally seen the Tower for spring cleaning. So sometimes it's just like, oh, this just didn't match my expectations. So there's going to be some things that don't match your expectations, and it takes adjustment, but it's fine, okay? But it's just about, you know, kind of putting you in the position to confront reality. That's what I see here, mainly with this dynamic. You enter the relationship with this curious, open mind, very hopeful, but this could be both of you, because I don't want to just put this all on you. Very hopeful, very optimistic, without kind of fully understanding the full weight of a relationship. You know, like sometimes you go into a relationship and you assume it's going to be natural and easy, but you don't realize just how much you might have to negotiate, or what it actually takes to be vulnerable, which it's very hard, for at least for some people, not everybody, and what compromise really requires within a relationship. And that's something that's going to be kind of like demystified. Yeah, demythed. What do you call it? when you have something that's a myth and you expose it, whatever. But it's something that just, you know, you have this expectation that's disrupted, and it's not necessarily something that is this, like I said, it's not necessarily traumatic or like, oh no, it's just like, you know, I didn't expect that. But anyway, this is definitely learning. And I absolutely love the fact that we have this, because the Magician card is someone who is going to communicate their thoughts, their feelings, how they are expecting things to go. They're also going to be someone who is not wanting to ignore things and sweep things under the rug. In fact, with this Five of Swords here, I'll be gentle in my delivery, that the Five of Swords can be like a little bit nitpicky behavior, a little shade is being thrown, okay? Because sometimes that Five of Swords can show up as the passive-aggressive thing. But I guess a good thing is, like, you won't be able, both of you, be able to ignore each other. Like, this is not the communication for somebody just saying, yeah, everything's fine. Yeah, no, it's all cool. It's all good. This is the opposite of that. This is like, you will know when the other person doesn't like something. And I will say this, you guys might want to work on that communication. And I think you will, because we have this Knight of Swords energy. So the Knight of Swords is growing in their communication style. And what that looks like is, maybe, you know, when you guys first enter the relationship, you get upset with each other and there's some heated text exchanges. And as the relationship progresses and moves forward, you're like, I don't think this is helpful. I think that the text exchanges aren't really conveying or coming across like I want them to come across. Or maybe even like you review the text exchanges and you're just like, maybe I shouldn't have phrased things that way. That's kind of like put somebody on the defense. And if I heard that back to me, I don't know if I would like it. And so there's a little bit of recalibration when it comes to the communication that I see happening within the relationship. But for sure, it's a learning curve, and that's part of life. I don't want to get caught up in this, you know, self-improvement thing, but that's just my vibe, guys. I'm sure you don't want to hear all that. There are some really great things about this relationship. Even if we're not focusing on the growth aspect, because I know sometimes that doesn't sound fun and idealistic. But one thing about this relationship is, when we have the Fool here, there is an element of spontaneity with the Fool card. You never know what's going to be expected, especially when we have the Tower card. That's like Uranus and Mars coming together. And then the Magician card is Mercury. All of these planets, Mercury is very changeable. Mars is transformative. It rules over the 8th house. And even we were just discussing on the community tab, because I love to pull you guys in the community tab, what have been like the most transformative transits that happened in your chart. And you guys, without a doubt, said the 8th house transits, that Scorpio-like energy, that 8th house energy that's ruled by Mars, has been transformative. And so for me, this feels like boom, boom, pow. Like, this is going to be a relationship in which you guys continue to grow, in which you guys have a lot of spontaneity, a lot of fun, a lot of adventure, a lot of like, okay, let's go on a quick trip for the weekend. Let's take the train to, I don't know, it depends on where you're at. Like for me, I'm on the East Coast, so I'm like, okay, let's take the train to Boston, right? That might be something that you guys are doing. Let's go to a concert here in, let's say we live in Florida. Maybe you take a little flight to Texas, whatever. And you're just like, this is fun. And I'm just using America. I know a lot of you guys are global and around the world. Whatever is a city that's a little bit of a distance from you, and you're like, oh, let's do a fun quick trip. Okay, so there's some sense of spontaneity within the relationship. The dynamic is fast moving, it's evolving. It is, I don't know how to explain this. It's a very life altering relationship. It's very deep. It shows that you guys are not, like I said, I really do feel like you aren't avoiding the hard conversations here, even if they get a little rocky. Or a little messy. You guys are not avoiding the conversations, and it's causing you to grow, and I think that's a good thing. We love that the thing about this, there's no pinnacles here, so there's no set routine like, you know, on Sundays we have date nights and we do puzzles and things like that. No, you guys have your own vibe that you're in. It's like whatever you feel like doing, you do as a couple. You know, it's like Friday night, you're like, look at each other and say, hey, tomorrow morning, are you interested in like going on a trip to the beach? Like, let's just drive 3 hours and go to the beach. And you're like, yeah, let's do that. Like that's the vibes of this relationship, especially when we talk about that. But at the same time, we also have unexpected conversations that may pop up. What is that thing when you call it, when you say, if I was a squirrel, would you like still love me, or something like that? Like that type of conversations, like random fun type of conversations. I feel like you guys are that couple that are just throwing that type of mindset out there, and it's silly. It's not meant to be that deep, you know. You're just saying random playful things that are abstract, but it helps build the intimacy within the relationship, and this humor comes with a lot of emotional closeness. And so I do think that that's something that is beautiful within this relationship, because there's a lot of inside jokes and laughter and these big moments where, I want to say this, there's something about your next partner that they have a wild laugh. Like, it is so loud and rambunctious. That this person's laugh, this is the type of person whose laugh makes you laugh, like, because it's something different. And I just really feel like, I don't know, it just feels good, you know. It feels good that you have these silly conversations, and then it kind of switched to, wait a minute, can I actually ask you something a little serious and a little real, or like debating things that are hypotheticals and just things along the lines of that. You guys have a lot of random conversations that are going on here. And the interesting thing about this is you guys don't necessarily give off couple vibes, which is not a bad thing. Just because you don't give off couple vibes does not mean you're not a great couple. It's just more so when people see you guys together, the vibe and the energy is a lot like a friendship. Like, it feels like you guys have this rapport to you where you guys are coming across like each other's best friends, and you continuously poke fun of each other. Don't get me wrong, sometimes you guys might take it a little too far, but you have this playful dynamic within this relationship. Now, if we get into what this person looks like, the Fool's actually kind of a card which, you know, they are known for their elaborate design here. It's actually interesting because when you think of the Fool card, you would think that they would have this type of more so comfortable travel gear, but they're actually dressed pretty extravagantly for the journey that they're about to go on. So I really do feel like part of their quirk is like they may not always dress for the occasion. That's not to say that they're going to come through looking sloppy when it's like, let's go to a 5-star restaurant or something like that. But no, or a Michelin star restaurant. It's more so like, you know, they may have certain quirks about their outfits that you're just like, I did not expect you to wear that. You know, that's not something I expected from you. I don't know. There's just that. And also what I notice about Uranus here, the Fool card, and Mars coming together, definitely ups and downs in the appearance for both of you guys. And I think that's normal within the ebb and flows of life, where you go through periods of, you know, sometimes you gain weight, sometimes you lose weight, whatever the case may be. I will say this, these two combination cards in particular do come up as like somebody going through a period of a glow up generally, because when Mars and Uranus come together, it's like a shock to the system, and the Tower wants to get rid of anything that is not necessary. So it's very much, you know, trim the fat, you know. So within the relationship, there is a bit of a glow up, either from your end, their end, whatever the case may be. I just want you to know that as we come through here. I think that this person is kind of seen by others to be very much like, I don't know how to say this, the gentle giant. Like, that's the vibe for them. Like, I feel like they're really tall, but they're kind of goofy. Like, I don't know how else to describe this person, and that's for a man or a woman. You know, there's something about them that's a little goofy, but I do think that they're kind of tall, or at least they have a long legs. Okay, that's generally what I get for the Tower. I mean, the Tower is, it's literally just literal for me. Like, this person towers over me. Also, the Magician card, youthful, more so of appearance than not youthful. Especially with the Fool card there, representing new beginnings and innocence. So more so of a youthful appearance than a mature appearance is what's going on here. So they'll physically stand out, but they're not necessarily someone who dominates the room with their presence. And there's definitely going to be a size contrast between you. Sometimes this can represent a deep voice with the Tower here, more so deep voice than high-pitched voice, or doesn't even matter. They could be like a woman with a deep voice like Beyonce or something like that, or just a man with a deep voice. If we got the Sun card, for sure, I would say they had a deep voice. but this can, Mars energy, Tower energy, it leans towards deeper voice than not, okay? But sometimes it'll just kind of make someone like very funny. I don't know what it is. But I really do feel like something about their energy allows you to be more self-assured and refined. One thing I notice about the Knight of Swords energy with the relationship is there's just a lot of calling, a lot of texting, within this relationship. You guys are not the type of people to say, I'll see you when I see you, and then we could talk. This is like, no, I want to be in more so of a constant type of communication that's going on here with this first relationship. If you're wondering how you are feeling within the relationship, I will say this. Like I said, the relationship goes through phases, and there may be moments that are tense. And I think one thing that the relationship needs to work on is you both finding ways to comfort each other and bring about a feeling of security and reliability. Like I said, I don't see any pentacles besides the one on the Magician card. And I think that that's going to be something you guys are going to want to work on, because pentacles bring that sense of like, this person has my back no matter what. I can count on them. And I think that becomes part of the conversation of the relationship. And I'm not saying that this is not necessarily true, that you guys could have each other back no matter what. But the feeling of that, the feeling of like, does this person really have my back? You're questioning that a little bit. And I don't know if it's just because it's not natural for you guys to communicate that to each other, but it's just something you have to work out. And I really do feel like you're going to have those discussions. One thing you guys are really good at is getting all of your feelings out there for sure. Your thoughts are being exposed by each other. You guys don't hold back when it comes to what's on your mind or what you have to say, which is good because you're definitely clearing the air for this relationship, and there's no sense of questioning what's on the other person's mind. So that's something that is clear for me. I think it's the simple things, like being able to say, like, I care and I've got this handled and you don't need to worry and I'm here for you. And like I said, they could already be feeling these things. You could already be feeling these things. But it's like, is that being communicated somehow? And is it being shown through actions as well? That, that's the thing that feels like that's what's missing here. And I think there's going to be a grounding moment where you guys really transform and get to that place. And there was something I was thinking about the Knight of Swords. The Knight of Swords is very flighty energy in terms of like we have a lot of different things to do. And so it tells me that you guys are very busy throughout the relationship. This is not a, what's the word? You know how sometimes some couples spend a lot of time together and almost to the point where they're like in unison. No, this is not it. This is very much independent and a lot of busyness within the relationship. Like you have things to do, they have things to do. And you come together when you got time. That is what I see here. And I think, how do I say this? I think that maybe that plays into the relationship. Maybe that's the thing that is preventing that sense of routineness. Because if you have a job or a second job and then you've got friends obligations and family obligations and you're like, I got to go to the dry cleaning and then I want to get my nails done and then I have to work on this project and then, I have to fill out these forms for, I don't know, health insurance. And then I've got to check in with my financial advisor. And then I've got to go ahead and have a conversation with my attorney. And, like, there's a lot going on both of your ends, okay? And I think it's the fact that you both will come together at some point and say, you know what? We really are both busy, but we've got to figure out a way to stay connected so that it doesn't feel like we aren't showing up for each other in the way that we both want to. But either way, I do want to say they are a little bit like, it's interesting. This is the one pile where I'm not quite clear on who pursues who first, which tells me that it could be a combination of just like, I don't know if you meet through friends or sometimes it's online dating with the Fool card though. And maybe that's it, where it's like a mutual like situation and someone asks someone out or the suggestion just comes up like, oh, I'm going to this restaurant, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, I just went there. I was planning to go there as well. Like, let's go at this time. And it's like unclear who asked who out. You know what I mean? Because this pile is very much, I don't know, you guys are very free-spirited, And also one thing I want to say, because certain piles have very traditional gender roles that are happening. That is not you guys here. And if you wanted that, feel free to choose a new pile because that's not what's clearly going on within this relationship. But the Fool and the Magician, they can be very low pressure when it comes to that. So it doesn't show like this is the pursuit and, you know, I'm the masculine or I'm the man within the relationship or whatever, you know. It's like, you know, let's see where things go. Like, let's, if you want to ask me out, we can go out, or if I might ask you out, and, you know, it's like, it's not concrete. One thing I will say, because it's the last thing I want to say before I wrap this up, is your friends and family, similar to another pal, a lot of mixed reviews here. I think this is one of the piles where you might get frustrated and you might start talking about your partner to your friends or your family and just being like, you know what they did last week, or you know what they said to me, and da 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 da, and this is, you know, this, and I didn't like that, and don't get me wrong, you'll sprinkle in some good things here, but the Knight of Swords, I'll say this, the Knight of Swords is unbalanced communication. And so when we talk about the Knight of Swords, it's like, okay, I'm either going to overhype this person to my friends and family and make it seem like they're the greatest person ever, and then I'll sprinkle in a few things that are annoying me about them, or I'll do the opposite, and I kind of just come to them when I'm frustrated and I want to talk about how they're annoying me, and then I'll sprinkle in some good things about them, and it's like, you forgot, oh wait, I'm giving this impression to my friends and family that may not be the most balanced perspective. And so I think that's where they're getting these mixed reactions to who you're dating with, because to them, they're like, oh man, I don't know, this person seems like they seem like they aren't the best fit for you, or they seem like they are inconsistent, or they seem like you seems like you guys are always not seeing eye to eye, and it's not fair, and you're too good for them. Like, there's an element of that going on within the relationship, and I don't think they'll realize that their information is based on partial data, and they're not fully within the relationship, and they're not experiencing it, and they're not there in person. And then also, like I said, sometimes they get to the point where they're like, oh, this person seems like absolutely amazing and so thoughtful, and then next week they hear something else about them and they're just like, wait a minute, like, they seem so great, like, what happened? Like, you know, you know, you come up to them and you're like, you won't believe what they did, and then you go on the rant of frustration, and then you end it with, but overall they're kind of great, you know, and then they're like, what are you talking about? You just listed this list of complaints and they don't sound that great, you know what I mean? And that's the type of thing that could happen within the relationship. So that's just happens. Like, and I hate to bark on or harp on about the frustrating parts, but it is real, and that is something that is probably might come up for you guys. So I just wanted to pinpoint that. And so it's just a mixed impression. They're not quite sure what to think. They really don't. But they will actually see aspects of this person's character that is, how do I say this? They think they're sharp-witted. They think they make a lot of quick decisions, that they're quick on their feet. They're a smart thinker, especially since we have that Knight of Swords. The smart thinker, that sounds weird. They're an intelligent person who can think on their toes, who can anticipate things, and that's something that they'll like about this person. And they really do find like this person to be very honest and forthright. So I think that some people will like the bluntness, but other people will feel like, I don't know. So I just want you to say that, but there's definitely a lot of understanding that, I don't know, to me it feels like they understand that this person does have some positive qualities. They're so smart, they're so quick, but some people feel like, do they think before they speak? And then other people are just like, oh, I kind of like their blunt honesty. I kind of like that they just say what's on their mind and let the intrusive thoughts out. Anyway, that's what I have for you, pile number 5. Hopefully this is a beautiful relationship. If you're not feeling the vibes, you know, go ahead and choose a new pal, a new reader. Anyway, I'm very happy you stopped by. Don't forget to come to the lives and ask your questions there. I now offer astrological readings live, so I can go through your birth chart. You can ask me questions. I do tarot lives, and then I also do the weekly forecast and look ahead to see what's going to happen next. And we can talk about all of the things, like how we got the Knight of Swords one time, and some of us were making travel plans. It's a great way to learn the cards because, you know, I am an astrologer and a tarot reader who loves to teach, which is why I'm always explaining the cards here. So the Knight of Swords energy is very much busybody energy. I have a meeting, I have a phone call I have to take, I've got to drop these things off, I have to return this package, it was the wrong size, and you know, Fashion Nova sent me the wrong thing, you know, I've got to call the post office, they lost my package. Like, very much I have a lot of errands to run energy, and so we see these things and these cards and these energies unfold during the week. So that's why I love doing the weekly collectives. Also, feel free to become a member. If you like the weekly collectives, you'll definitely like the monthly look aheads, the yearly look aheads that are all a part of the memberships. And I do offer exclusive content to memberships, members, and I'm planning to do more, as much as I can, within the boundaries of my time constraints. So very happy to read for you guys. Don't forget to get a private reading. I will see you next time. Au revoir.